Now, hello everyone, welcome back to the channel, G-Man Aviation. Now, in today's video, we are back in the flight simulator, finally after our long break here over the summer. I am finally back making videos after having to get back into schoolwork and a few other things to kind of get the year back started. I'm happy to keep making more of these videos. I do love making videos, teaching more about aviation and showing you guys the cool planes that are out there and how kind of flight simulation works. So thank you guys for supporting through the little break here, but we'll be back into posting as we keep going on. So now in today's video, we're going to be checking out the Dornier Seastar CD2. Let's get into it. So now on the inside of the plane, you can see we have this kind of big cockpit here. You can see a lot of buttons and switches. This is a whole keyboard here. You can also see the model has a few fingerprints on the screens while they are off. You can also see up here has a lot of circuit breakers. This is very nice circuit breaker simulation for a plane that is just based in the Microsoft Flight Simulator. You see there's even more circuit breakers over here, as well as a few other things. You can even see here we can open the cockpit door, kind of moves up and over us. So let's turn on this plane here. Let's get the batteries on. It's not very hard to start. You can turn on your emergency battery as well as both of the engine generators. Now you can see the turn on cabin power supply as well as the fuel pumps. Here we are then going to turn first engine already on. Now yes, we can already do this, so we can just switch our front engine to ignition, and we could then turn on the front engine. You'll then see that we'll start up here in a second. Most of our lights are up here. They're mostly already on, so we can change a few things here. Turn on a few of the lightings just so we can see a few things. It's a little dark here in Alaska where we are flying. Other things, you can see the fuel very nicely simulated in here with these screens, of course, little touch screens as we go. Well, let's wait for this front engine. You can see it is now starting up. Now this is actually an interesting looking plane because the front of it is mainly amphibious. I mean, it's an amphibious plane, which means it can go on land and water. You can also see that the plane has a high wing design. So the wing is, instead of being on the lower part where you have this kind of flat area, it is on the upper part that is then housing the two engines. Now they are not differential thrust engines, they are both the same thrust, but they are both going forward, one on the front and one on the back. And this almost actually looks like a little crop duster plane sitting on top of the passenger amphibious plane that we have here on top of the Dornier. Very interesting here. We have our first engine powered up. We're then going to start the second engine, turn off that ignition. We'll then switch this one to run. We should then have the back engine as well starting up. You can see we have our flaps at 20 degrees, ready for takeoff. We can see this engine is spinning up. So once it gets spun up and ready at the correct RPMs, we'll head off here and head into the skies. Okay, so now both engines are at the correct RPM. We are then going to turn both to high idle and change the propeller speed RPM to 100. And we'll bring back our yoke here so you can see what I am doing. We'll also turn on our auto feather here. We'll turn that on as well as both of the engine generators that are already on. Sweet. We'll then turn the plane to C mode, so it then stops complaining about the landing gear. Now, yes, it has two modes, of course, air, land, and sea. So that's actually three. But the two we can do are the C mode and land mode. So you can see we are now started up here. Our fuel pumps are standby, are off, but we can turn them on. But that is in. Second here, we'll just leave those on. So we have no warnings on the screen. Now let's take off here. We'll turn on our landing lights to pulse, which means they do this kind of two thing, kind of like a train, if you've ever seen one of those, with the lights flashing both ways. That's usually to show like it's coming in, if it's either night or it's moving around. It's kind of a better way to alert surrounding people. Alright, so let's start here. Let's take to the skies in this beautiful amphibious plane. Alright, so I'm going to set the throttle to full here. You can see we have a high voltage warning, as well as our auto throttle that is armed. We're then going to absolutely hit it here. This plane takes off around 90 knots. You can see the wake that we leave behind us, kind of like a boat, a very fast boat. And you'll see here at 80 knots, we will slowly pull up on the yoke. Of course, small little adjustment before we get to the end of this water runway here. You can see, there we go, off into the skies in our beautiful amphibious plane. Now here we are already off the ground. We'll bring our flaps up as we have cleared obstacles. So we'll bring flaps all the way up as we are now cruising up here at this top speed. We'll turn our landing lights off and we will then start turning back. We're just going to make a little loop around the airport just so I can talk about and show off how this amphibious plane flies. Now you can see it flies pretty much like any normal plane, just does not have a kind of lower wing. It has a top wing, and it also doesn't have differential thrust. Now I can change both engines' thrust, so that is differential in some way, but I can't control the turning, so I must use the yoke to turn because the engines are not on separate wings like sometimes they usually are. Now a little history about this plane. This plane was made in Germany kind of as a concept. It only seems like there was only one prototype built, and it only seemed to kind of fly only a few times. This concept was made in 1983, and it was kind of shown off to a few different like airlines or companies to kind of show their amphibious plane that could land on both land and water. Now, of course, a few benefits are if you're on an island, obviously you can't have that much space. So amphibious planes are used a lot in island travel. We're then going to start slowing down here. We're going to start coming back in for our landing. One thing I do want to show is this plane does have landing gear. If we put that down here, you'll see the landing gear doors should open here. There we go. Both landing gears all of them are coming out. Now that would obviously be to land on land or on a runway. That is very normal. So that is what we normally see here with planes. We'll bring those back up. So we have that coming through. We'll bring our flaps down, of course, to 10. And our flaps here will come up, or our landing gear will come up, and our flap door will close. We'll again put the plane into C mode so it quits yapping about the gear, and we will see as we come in for a landing here. Let's keep going. So we're now going to put our landing lights back on and bring our flaps down fully here as we come in for a landing on the water. Now both of our engines do use reverse thrust, which will help us stop on the water here. We're coming in for our landing. We're going to slow it down a little bit, just so we are not going too fast on the approach here. Let's slow our plane down a bit. Then once we land, you'll see that the plane kind of just acts like a boat. We're going to come in here. We're a little fast, so we'll bring down reverse thrust kind of mid-air here. Yeah, we bounced very hard there. And we'll then just slowly touch down on the water, and that is usually how a amphibious plane would land. Now you can see we have full reverse thrust. That's what's going to stop us here. You might be wondering, how do you turn on the water in this plane? Now this plane, most planes usually have some sort of kind of water rudder, like our air rudder that we usually have, but this plane doesn't. This plane actually only has no water rudder, so you can see when I'm moving my rudder, it does not turn the plane. So I have to come down here and turn on this water thruster. Now once this is on, we'll make sure that the thing has started. You'll then see when I turn the rudder, it will then move the plane. Usually it runs a little faster when the engines are on, but you can kind of see what I mean here. When I turn back this way, you'll see the plane will start turning back. So kind of like a ship. We have both ways of turning in the water. Now, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed. I'm glad we are back posting videos talking more about aviation and learning more about these interesting little planes here. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I have made a new Instagram. It's G-Man Aviation, all lowercase. If you want to see a few things, mainly the same YouTube shorts, go up over there on Reels, as well as a few exclusive photos from different plane spotting events or different air show events that I had taken videos or photos of will usually go up there, unless they make a full video here on YouTube. Of course, all normal full-length videos will be posted on YouTube, as well as different drone shorts, as we usually do. Nothing will be removed from the YouTube, but a few extra things will be added to the Instagram. Now, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed, and have a great day.